Hello, my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. I am currently in a season in my plant parenthood where I have been honestly loving my Hoya more and more because I've been getting a little bit sick of moss pole maintenance recently. I'm just in a season of it. I love how moss poles can help your plants to grow big leaves, that sort of thing. But yeah, any of my aeroids that are requiring a moss pole or that I have on moss poles, I've been getting like my patience is wearing thin with them just a little bit, and I'm sure that I'll come to love them again. But all that being said, that has made plants like Hoya and my prayer plants like my Maranta and stuff like that a lot more appealing. So the genuses or genera, I think it's genera is the plural, but the plant genera that I'm gravitating towards the most recently are like my trailing plants and my plants that grow upright and like don't need to climb or have any sort of support structure. And with spring being hopefully maybe around the corner, I've been thinking a lot about my plants blooming, and my Hoya in particular. I've been thinking about them blooming, and even though I have somewhere in the realm of 30 Hoya in my collection, which is kind of a lot, like that's a big chunk of my collection, only a small handful of them have actually bloomed for me. So that would include, I think the first Hoya that started blooming for me consistently was the Hoya lacunosa Super Silver, and then after that my Hoya Chicken Farm and my Hoya Polynera also have bloomed for me. Technically my Latifolia Alba Marginata also tried to bloom, but like it blasted most of it and only a few of like the little flowers were there. So like that one's like, it gets like half of a point. And frankly, I don't even know if I have any pictures of that one, to be honest, because it was so disappointing to me. That was actually the first peduncle that I got was on that plant, the Latifolia. And is that really it? I could be missing a plant, but I'm pretty sure those are the only Hoya that have actually bloomed for me, which is honestly kind of wild considering it's such a small percentage of the Hoya that I own. I've actually had my Lacunosa and Polynera bloom again over the winter time, which was kind of bizarre, but they definitely bloomed the most over the spring and the summer. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe I'll have some blooms in my future. And then I realized that I didn't know what my Hoya's blooms would look like if they were to all bloom. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole and may or may not have researched like what all of their blooms looked like. I have to say, you guys, I'm really excited about some of them in particular. And I just thought, you know what? I need to share this with somebody, and who better to share it with than all of you. So we're going to chat about the Hoya blooms I'm most excited for in my collection specifically. Because I mean, there are other Hoya out there in the world, like the Hoya Thomsonii, like the pink one. Oh my gosh, I need one of those in my life, but I don't own it, so it's not going to be in this list, even though I like love that Hoya's bloom in particular. But I think I compiled 7 that I am most excited to see bloom. So we're going to talk about them. Now, here's a caveat. I am certainly not the expert in Hoya. You would have to check out like the Let's Talk Hoya podcast for that. But I did do like a very small amount of research in like the morphology of Hoya flowers and blooms, that sort of thing. See, I'm already mixing things up. There's the bloom as a whole, but then the individual flowers in the, umbel inflorescence. I don't know. I'm just throwing out words, okay? I think that that's the term for like the whole, you know, they're like a little spherical shape. It's made up of individual flowers. I'm pretty sure the anatomy of a Hoya bloom is like the corolla is on the outside. Those are like the petals on the outside. The corona is on the inside, but they all have different scents, which I actually didn't research what the different scents are. So actually I'm really curious now, but that's probably gonna be outside the video. I might just let it be a surprise. And there will be like different numbers of flowers in the umbel. So some of them will only have 1 flower, believe it or not, but some of them might have like as many as 100. And obviously there's big size and color ranges with Hoyas too. So there's a lot of variety and a lot more than I actually thought that there was. Without further ado, let's talk about These Hoya. And apologies in advance if I get any of like the vocabulary wrong. I'm just gonna be sort of describing what I see and getting excited with you because I'm excited. All right, the first plant that I so desperately want to bloom for me, oh my gosh, the Hoya linearis. First of all, it's one of my top Hoya by far for sure, but has not come anywhere close to blooming for me. I've never spotted a peduncle on this plant, although it is thriving and it's in my greenhouse cabinet right now. But the thing that I love about the Hoya linearis bloom is the bloom itself is cute. You know, it's like all white pretty much. It's like white and creamy. It looks very delicate. I feel like it complements the Hoya linearis really well, but it's not the bloom itself, it's the way that it goes with the Hoya linearis. I mean, I've seen so many photos where you're taking a picture like from the bottom up, and the way that it looks like that, it's just absolutely heavenly. Just, it's a waterfall, it's a cascade of gorgeous fuzzy leaves, you know, the linearis, and then you add in these white clusters of flowers, and it looks unreal. It looks like it belongs in a fantasy novel, I swear. It's just so graceful and gorgeous. And yeah, I've seen lots of photos with these Hoya linearis plants having like hundreds of blooms and being so long, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't even wrap my mind around that being a possibility. It's legitimately breathtaking. I don't know how else to describe it. The presentation as a whole. So Hoya linearis is absolutely the first plant that I'm like, please bloom for me, please. The next Hoya that I'm so looking forward to this bloom. It's the Hoya carnosa compacta, which on the one hand, it's kind of basic because it is a Hoya carnosa, and that's like the most common of the Hoya out there, I think. Like that's as Hoya as you get, I guess. But the thing about the Hoya carnosa compacta, I mean, first of all, the blooms are really cute. They're pink and they look super scrumptious. And honestly, the umbel, it's such a funny word. The umbel is, I mean, all of them are sphere shaped, right? But it seems so exaggerated in all of the photos that I see of the Hoya carnosa compacta, like way more exaggerated than the other ones, because some of them seem a little bit more flat, if that makes sense. Like not all of them are completely shaped like a sphere, but the Hoya carnosa compacta, I mean, you can see in the photos, like it is a ball of flowers and it's the cutest thing ever. And I've also heard that they smell like Tootsie Rolls or like chocolate. I am a huge chocolate fan, so I'm gonna need to sniff one of those as soon as possible, please. I would love that. And then the last thing, honestly, it's fairly similar to the Hoya linearis appeal, where the bloom itself, it's cute, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, the bloom. It's how it looks alongside the really unique, crazy leaves of the Hoya carnosa compacta. You just have all these blooms nestled in there in the curves of the leaves, and especially if you have a really long trailing plant. Oh my gosh, please. Now I have 3 Hoya carnosa compacta actually. I have the regular green one, I have the variegated one, and then I also have the inside out variegated one, the Monaloa. So I mean, frankly, I don't think it matters which one blooms. I just would like one of them too, and considering I have 3 plants, I mean, the Monaloa is a baby plant, so odds of that happening are very, very low. But I mean, the other 2, like, come on. I feel like my odds are pretty high this year. Maybe. I don't know. But I feel like they've also had some past problems, so I don't know. I've heard that Hoya can bloom when they're under severe stress, but honestly, okay, side note, if you have like a secret to getting Hoya to bloom, because I mean, it's just sort of happened on accident for me each time, and I feel like it's just because the plant was ready, it was mature enough, and it was happy, but I kind of want to know if there's a way that you can actually get a Hoya to bloom consistently, or if it's really just you kind of nail its care. But I have heard that if they're stressed out, that's another reason they could bloom, but I don't know if that's a myth, or I don't know. I've just like heard that out there. So if you know definitively, feel free to let me know, because I love my Hoya. I've got lots of them, but they're not the genus that I know the most about. I feel like I know more about philodendron in general, and my like the Maranthiaceae family. I feel like I know more about them, so let me know. Okay, the next Hoya on my list. Okay, this one. Oh my gosh. This one is one where, I mean, I love the plant itself and like the foliage, and this used to be one of my top wish list plants until I got it pretty recently, like a few months back. But one of the things I love most about this plant is not just the foliage, but specifically the bloom, and it's Hoya undulata. Oh my word. This bloom is probably not for everyone, right? Like some people would be like grossed out by it because it does kind of look almost zombie-like. It looks really grungy and a little bit funky and weird, but that's what I love about it. It's got these really big flowers, like each individual flower, and the umbel, look at me dropping my terminology. Each individual flower is massive. They're massive. And they honestly look like starfish to me. It looks like you plucked each of those flowers out of the ocean and stuck it onto the Hoya. And I kind of love that about it. I don't know. It looks a little bit borderline spooky. It looks bizarre and so unique. And that paired with the very like textured and trash Hoya, like it's just, I love it. You know, my Hoya undulata is stable. It's in my greenhouse cabinet and it seems to like it. It's also not like actively growing a ton right now, so I'm just hoping. Honestly, I've been so nervous about that plant, so paranoid that it's gonna perish on me because I've heard that they can be a little bit temperamental, but it has survived for what? How long has it been? 6 months now that I've owned it, actually. I feel like it's been a while and it's been living, but I don't know if it's gonna bloom anytime soon for me, so I'm just gonna have to live vicariously through other people. So it's like mainly white, but it also has these, it's almost like liver spotting is what I would want to call it. And I think it's the coolest thing. It's weird and cool, and that's all I have to say. All right, the next one has a little bit of drama attached to it. Okay, drama is putting it. Why do I always exaggerate? It's really not drama, but for me it was a little bit of drama. I have some contention with this plant, okay? We have beef. So Hoya elliptica, love this plant. I think the foliage is beautiful, of course, but the thing that I was most excited for with it was the blooms. And maybe 6 months ago, which would have been like a year and a half after I got it, if I'm remembering all of my dates correctly, which is doubtful, but semi-recently, let's say, it was putting off all these peduncles and nearly blooming for me each time, right? It would get so close and literally I would be keeping an eye on it and I would just know like, okay, you're gonna literally open at any moment. You're at that point now where you're gonna open. And every single time, this happened maybe 4 or 5 times, okay, right? Every single time it blasted those blooms. And when I say blasted blooms, I mean like each little bud. I feel like I need to look at my chart again to check what the terminology is. Okay, it was in the pre-anthesis stage. That's the term. It was literally about to open. So anthesis, I guess, means the flower opens. They, instead of opening as you would expect them to, they just all fell off one by one every single time. So yes, I have beef with my Hoya elliptica. I don't know. I'm probably doing something wrong if I'm being honest, but you know, sometimes plants are just temperamental. They decide that they don't want to do something and yeah, it just decided to be dramatic and decided that something, like it was good enough to almost get there, but not good enough to bloom all the way. But yeah, they just never lasted. But anyway, back to like the bloom itself and what I like about it. So the Hoya elliptica blooms, I have heard them being compared to teeth, and that's what I see, frankly. Like that's just facts. That's exactly what it looks like. I mean, they are white blooms, but the shape of like the corolla and the corona are really unique. And I love that the shape is really cool, but it does look like teeth. I mean, that's just a fact. It just does. I don't know specifically why. I'm sure there's a name for like this shape of bloom, because I know each of the different types of Hoya blooms all have different like names. Like there's different like shapes of flowers and each of them has a different term. Listen, my brain could not hold on to all of that information, so I don't have that for you. But I think I started to mention one of the reasons that I got the Hoya elliptica was for its blooms, because actually this was a plant that I did specifically purchase for its blooms. None of the other Hoya that I've gotten have I gotten for their blooms except for the elliptica. So that's why I just feel like a little bit trolled by the elliptica. But I couldn't not put it on this list because I like legitimately, this was the first Hoya I've ever gotten where I was specifically considering the blooms when I bought it. So it was also influenced by a Let's Talk Hoya episode about the Hoya elliptica. That's also why I got it. This next Hoya, I think, was the most unexpected of all of them for me to put on this list, but here we are. And it's the Hoya Australis Lisa. Now, of all the Hoya in my collection, from a foliage standpoint, I feel like this is the one that I might like the least. It's like my least favorite. I don't not like it, but it doesn't really excite me that much for some reason. Like sometimes it will catch my eye and I'll be like, ooh, like I like that. Other times, I don't know, maybe it's just like the yellowish variation on it. It just looks a little bit more sickly to me. I don't always gravitate towards this plant, but when I looked at the blooms up for it, my interest was piqued. I think the thing that I like is kind of similar to the Hoya elliptica. I like the shape of the flower itself, and I like, the Corolla has more of that starfish look to it rather than a round look, and then the corona in the middle, that's the part that stands out to me the most. But I don't know if I have much else to say other than I just like the way that it looks, which is at the core of it, that's how all of these plants are. But I don't know if I have the language to quite express why I like it so much, but I think it has something to do with the corona, like the little middle petals and the way that they kind of stick out a little bit. I don't know. Now, some of them look a little bit more creamy or like light green-ish in color. Like not all of them look the same. Oh my gosh. Okay, some of these pictures though I'm looking at, I'm very excited for that. Wow. Okay. All right, we're nearing the end and I'll try to be a little bit more succinct from here on out. We'll see. Hoya crassipedialata. This is the next one I'm super excited for. And yeah, I probably should have mentioned my laptop is down here, so like that's why I'm looking down so much. Anyway, okay, the thing that I love about the crassipedialata, I'm trying to think of what I can. Okay, this is gonna be the weirdest comparison ever. Okay, Korean skincare and like the trendy Korean makeup from, I don't know, 5-10 years ago at this point. I'm sure it's still out there, but it's like that really natural glow that people were going for. I don't know if, again, I'm not in with the trends anymore, so I don't know if that's the case, but that is what these blooms remind me of. Is that not the weirdest comparison ever? But it's just that really scrumptious, glowy, dewy. That's the term. They're dewy. Oh my gosh, yeah. Dewy makeup was a whole trend, okay? The crassipedialata, these pictures I'm looking at, they look dewy. They look dewy, and I'm obsessed. It makes me just want to like, I don't know, frankly, I kind of want to eat them because they look, I'm sure they would be awful, but they're so cute, and oh, I just love them. So that's all I really have to say. They're really, really cute, and I can't wait. I'm so excited for this one. Oh my gosh. All right, and last but certainly not least is Hoya Bella. These blooms are all these blooms are kind of loosely star-shaped because they have 5 petals on the outside, and that just lends itself to being star-shaped. But the Hoya Bella is the one that is like genuinely star-shaped. Like it's the platonic version of a star is the Hoya Bella bloom. Okay, it is so cute. It's white with pink in the middle, at least the ones that I'm currently looking at. There might be some other variations to that, I don't really know, but they're just and next to like the itty bitty leaves, I'm finding that the blooms, kind of like with the Hoya linearis and stuff, the blooms next to Hoya that have really small leaves, I think are just so genuinely adorable. And some of these pictures, oh my gosh, they're kind of wild. I don't know if I'm gonna find the same exact pictures that I'm looking at now because I'm going to record myself scrolling through Instagram, but hopefully I can find similar pictures because some of the ones I'm looking at right now are absolutely unreal. Just how many blooms are here and how angelic and heavenly it looks. And yeah, I just need that in my life. Well, yeah, those are all the Hoya blooms I'm most looking forward to and like most anticipating in my collection. If you have any specific Hoyas that you're wanting to bloom, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm really curious, and honestly, so I'm not planning on buying a whole lot of plants this year, but if I do buy any, they're most likely going to be Hoya. So I might also kind of dig around in the comments and see like, ooh, are there any like Hoya blooms that I love? Because okay, listen, I feel like every single plant person goes through, I don't know, their like Hoya era maybe, or like their Hoya bloom era. Hoya. So I don't know, she's in her Hoya era. Like I'm just saying, and I'm gonna lean fully into it because I'm loving it right now. But yeah, if you like this video, please feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. All those things are super helpful for my channel. And if you are a Hoya lover, I do have like a full Hoya collection video up on my channel that I made probably 8 months ago. So it's not completely up to date, and I've gotten a few more Hoya since then. I mean, clearly, because I'm up to closer to like 30 Hoya at this point. So I'll link it down below if you're curious and want to watch that. But I'm also planning on probably making another one of those like Hoya collection videos this year, just to have an updated one on the record. So yeah. Anyway, I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye.